Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I have an amazing guest on today. I'm so excited. I have Jeff Abraham, CEO of Promescent, a sexual wellness company that offers delay spray to last longer in bed. Ooh, okay. And it's the only FDA approved premature ejaculation product on the market. So go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Jeff Abraham. I'm the CEO of Promescent. Very, very happy to be here. We love these kind of opportunities to connect with audiences. I've had a very varied background, both geographically and career-wise. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, lived there till I was 24, then spent 30 years in Southern California, and I've been in Summerlin, Nevada for 8 years. I started off in the semiconductor industry and was a semiconductor executive and ended up having the largest recruiting semiconductor organization basically in the world called Technical Resources. And I retired at age 53 in 2011. My next door neighbor, friend, Dr. Ronald Gilbert developed this product and asked me to help him with it. And next thing you know, I invested in it. And then I took over the company. And we did start strictly as a delay spray company and had tremendous success. But a lot of our customers, when you go from lasting 30 seconds to lasting 10 or 12 minutes, you go, hey, I never knew I needed lube. Now I need some lube. So we developed a line of lubes, and then we developed condoms, and we developed female arousal gel. Then we developed VitaFlux, and we developed these before and after wipes. Then we developed some massage oils, and now we have a line of vibrators and toys. So we have morphed into an entire sexual wellness brand now. So it's been quite the journey. It's been quite the ride, and very, very happy to connect with your audience today.
Love it. Yes, I have some of the amazing products on hand. I'm so excited to try. I'm actually trying the buzzing gel right now. So if you guys go watch the YouTube, I'm showing it, and tried the lube last night and it was great. So I already like what I've tried, and I'm curious. So you kind of took over the company. Did you have a passion for sexual wellness, or did it kind of develop?
It developed. I was a businessman, running a semiconductor engineering business. So certainly didn't have any sexual components to that part of it. But I've always been single my whole life. And I certainly, like most people, enjoy sex. I mean, there's nothing that is more invigorating and at the same time relaxing than a good orgasm, So Ron was my neighbor, my friend. He was a urologist. So when he said, hey, I developed this product, I was like, let me try it. And the one thing I want to emphasize to people, a lot of times when people think, oh, here's a product that helps with PE, they think that you have to have severe medical PE to get a benefit from it. One of the things that blows people away is, this is a fact, and in the urological and therapist community, they refer to it as the arousal gap or the orgasm gap.
Okay.
Let's step out of PE. Let's go the normal, healthy adult male, adult female. The normal, healthy adult male lasts 5 minutes and 42 seconds during penetration or thrusting. The average female takes 18 minutes to climax. So even in healthy couples, you have this gap. That's why there's 10 trillion vibrators in the world. That's why guys stop, start, think about baseball scores, have all these coping mechanisms. There's not a guy in the world that hasn't at one point gone, oh my God, I hope she doesn't go reverse cowgirl. I can't last.
Think of their grandma, get too excited.
Exactly. Think about dead skunks in a soccer field, my grandmother naked, anything to kind of take the edge off of feeling excited. And even
then they're
a lot
not
of
present.
Men,
they're not actually there. And we can feel it as women.
No,
or the partner.
Do you know how many times we've had someone that started using Promescent, and I'll talk to the wife or the girlfriend, and they'll go, I used to think he wasn't into me, and he was afraid to tell me that he was so focused on not ejaculating that I thought he was robotic and not into it. He was literally going, no, not yet. And she's taking it as disinterest.
Yeah.
And she goes, now he's totally into it because he knows that he can last long enough to bring me to climax, to bring me to orgasm.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, we need it. Even younger men need it. I would say if I were to hand it out to the younger guys, it would mostly be younger guys. In fact,
mostly.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll tell you. You'll laugh when I tell you this. Younger guys almost always have the issue because they haven't had sex that long to even recognize the ejaculatory response. But then when guys get 50, you have prostate shrinkage, you have prostate expansion, you have prostatitis. Then older guys start having issues again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of times where certain people are just wired that they don't last that long. Okay. That they're in the norm, the 5-minute range, and they might have a partner that takes a little bit longer. And, you know, when you're acutely aware during intercourse, oh my God, she's not there, I'm about to climax. And you're like, no, that's anxiety. You should not bring anxiety into the bedroom. Okay. There is nothing about intimacy that should include anxiety. Those two things should be mutually exclusive. Okay.
That's why you got to be in the present.
You got to be in the present.
In the journey. Enjoy.
Yeah.
I tell the women this all the time. Enjoy the journey. Stop thinking about the end, because then you'll get anxiety. And then the men, they're thinking about too quickly. Yeah, there's so much anxiety. And then that disconnection.
If you worry about the end, you may never get there. If
Yes.
you worry about the journey, you'll get to the end because you're going to be so relaxed and you're going to be so hyper turned on, you will climax. Half the people, both men and female, I swear to God, in this country that have issues with men either climaxing too early or women not climaxing at all, it's anxiety related.
Yeah.
It really is. You get in your own head.
Yeah. And it's like a practice, like meditation. It doesn't just happen overnight. There's just not this one thing that you're going to listen to this podcast and be cured. No, you have to practice it. You have to like practice relaxing, practice letting go, practice opening up, listening to these podcasts.
Meditate. Seriously. Relax. Meditate. And I always tell men too, that the more you try, the more that you focus on it, the more it's going to become an issue that you can't get over. Relax. Okay. Take it easy. Take a step back, find some products to help you out, breathe. And women, I know women that sometimes will have an encounter and they don't climax and they start apologizing. I'm like, you don't need to apologize. It's not like you didn't climax on purpose. Trust me. I know you prefer to climax. Okay.
Yeah.
There are certain psychological, physical things that affect you at certain time. You're not supposed to climax every single time. You want to, and that should be your goal.
And well, maybe not the goal, because that makes the anxiety
that makes
come
it exactly. But like you said, enjoy the journey. You don't have to necessarily climax to go, well, that was great. It felt really good.
Yeah. That's what we need to fix, is that sex can be amazing without climaxing for women. Like, I promise you, of course we do want to climax, but that's where men, especially, that's when you get your lady off first.
Yes.
And then she's all aroused, she's all wet, and then you can go longer, stronger.
There's no anxiety. You got one in the bank already. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So 2 tips. Breathe. That's my biggest tips for women. And it also works for men as well, is that they get all tensed up and they're like, and that's when, you know, the ending happens. So for women and men, take a deep breath all the way in. And then push it through your body, like push the pleasure all throughout your body, and it will actually stabilize you and it opens you up instead of just being all like rigid. And it helps women, especially for orgasm, connection, opening up, feeling more. It's just so important.
I agree 100%.
Okay. So I am wondering, do you still have a healthy sex life today?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. So how old are you and how do you keep this going?
64.
Amazing.
And I remember thinking when I was 22, do 50-year-old people even having sex? So then when I got to be 40, I go, do 60-year-old people have sex? And I got to 50, I go to 70. So it's always going to be 20 years above where I'm at. I go, do people still have sex? You know? In fact, I have a 32-year-old son who I adore. And we were really close. I raised him as a single dad. We're extremely close. Wow. And every once in a while, he's like, he just laughs. He goes, you know, it's not easy sometimes having a dad that I have to sit here on podcast, on the radio, because I'm on Sirius XM. He goes, and listen to my dad rhapsodizing about his sex life. You know what I mean? And he just laughs and he goes, I'm not being critical, but he goes, it is rather unique. You know what I mean? And I'm like, ooh, I start thinking if I had to hear my dad talk about his sex life, I'd be like, that's gross. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at least you're happy. You have a happy dad, right?
Yeah, no, here's the way that I look at it. Here's a true story. So one of our big investors in our company, who also happens to be my best friend, he calls me one day. He's like, you're not going to believe this. I go, what? His dad was 97. He goes, his dad had me go online and buy him some Viagra online. I'm like, what? and he had his girlfriend, I'm like, oh, that's cute. That's really nice. He was like,
Wow.
yeah, isn't that hilarious? Yeah, it's hilarious. So he's building a new home. So I go back and, he wanted to take me over because the house was almost done to show the house. And just so happened, his dad with his girlfriend shows up. He's his 97-year-old dad with his 80-year-old girlfriend. So it was in the wintertime and the yard wasn't in yet. So they had these boards you had to walk on, you know what I mean? So you didn't get all muddy and everything to get into the house. So his dad and his girlfriend are walking down this board, and then my buddy Greg and I are right behind him. And he leans over, he elbows me. He's like, hey, I go, what? He goes, think of those two getting it on. I went, I go 10-second injury timeout. I go mental. I go, that is just wrong. Okay. I mean,
especially men are such visual. So,
oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think it's awesome they're doing it, but don't make me think about it and actually look and go, those two. I go, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was traumatized. I literally go, I hope the next time I'm a woman, I won't get that vision. You know what I mean? It was like, oh
yeah.
But I think it's awesome. I think it's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. My son worked for us. He was doing his internship like in college and stuff. And he was our customer support rep. So he calls me one day. He's like, what's our mental health program like here? I'm like, what? I go, mental health. I go, what's wrong? He goes, Dad, I just got a phone call. Some guy ordered product, and on his order, it says, delivered to this address, have an attention to Betty at the front desk. It was written right in the instructions. He goes, so I called the guy to make sure everything was, correct. And he goes, I go, oh, are you like in a hotel? He goes, no, I'm in a senior living center. I'm 96.
Oh,
and my son was 20 at the time. Imagine you're 20 and you have to envision some 96-year-old guy, or he's like, Dad, I can't get that image out of my mind. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I laugh so hard.
But the takeaway is that you can have a healthy sex drive and life later in life. And I mean, my ex was older than me and he had the highest testosterone. He lasted the longest. So I just want people, and he was in his 40s, mid 40s.
To me, I'll be honest with you. I think it's even more special when you get this age, because, when I was, 18, 20, like most men, I was like a machine gun. I had an unlimited supply of bullets. I'm firing them all over the place. Then you get in your 30s and you have like a rifle, like semi-automatic. Then you get like in your 50s, you have like a pistol. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you fire one time. I feel like right now I'm in the Revolutionary War. I have one of those muskets. You know what I mean? You got to put the little ball in, then you got to put the gunpowder in. You know what I mean? Like, whereas before I used to go 3 times a night. Now it's literally after one time I go, I need a good night's sleep, a workout, breakfast before I'm ready to go again. It's a 24-hour process. So you really and truly treasure each, encounter, each session, each, time you get to be with someone, because that it's a limited supply. And plus you're 64, you go, I'm not going to live forever. I want to enjoy every one of these, and
yeah.
So there's more of a sense of urgency and more of a sense of appreciation. So you want to have sex more often. You go, who knows how your health is going to hold out, and you're like, I like most people, I love having orgasms. That's a great feeling, I want to have as many of them as possible while I'm here, So it's important to really not only have as many of them as you can, but to enjoy them. And, that's why even a lot of people, when they get even older, really love sexual enhancement products, because they want to make sure that they have great experience.
Yeah. And it's quality now over quantity, where I think when you're younger, sometimes
you still want a little bit of quantity, you always, you go, I don't want this to be a once every 2 weeks thing,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess guys are like that. I'm always like, I would rather have quality one time than 3 times, like quick and short. So yeah,
absolutely.
Guys, I'm not going back to those people who are like, oh yeah, I did it 3 times in like 20 minutes. I'm like,
if you did it 3 times in 20 minutes, that had to be the worst 3. I mean, come on. I mean, even without any refractory period or any foreplay or whatever else, that's like, really?
Yeah, I'm not going back there. So guys,
I wouldn't go back there.
Definitely want to learn.
Yeah.
You definitely want to learn how to control it. And it takes practice and it takes time and it takes energy. And yes, it exists, but then that's why you should try this Promescent, because then you can use it and practice and learn and grow and please whoever you're with, men, female, binary, whatever it is.
Whatever.
Yeah.
What I always tell people, when people ask me, who are your products intended for? I go, anyone having intimacy. And we're
Yeah.
not the value or the morality police at all. I've always believed have the most intense and highest number of orgasms you can possibly have. Whatever goes on in someone else's bedroom is not my business. I don't care. Just make sure it's consenting. You know what I mean? And just make sure that you both are getting exactly what you want.
Yeah. And that takes time and that takes communication. Okay. So we're going to touch on that. Okay. So this was one of the questions I wanted to talk about is communication is so feared. So as I'm getting more and more into this, like sex coaching and helping with women, they just table it. They just put it to the side. They don't communicate. It's like this taboo subject. It's really hard. So especially for women, because I'm a woman, I can understand this. It's a touchy subject, like to maybe guide or give tips or something. So how would you recommend a woman communicates to make a change or feedback? What would you say
To her man.
for a woman to tell her man? Like what could help her?
You know, for being young, you really have a lot of experience and great ideas, okay? Because people ask me all the time, what's the ultimate aphrodisiac? I go, communication. Because without it, everyone's intimacy sucks if you don't communicate, okay?
So
you
important.
have to communicate. And when I tell women, and you'll laugh when I tell you this, but I mean this 1,000%. Coming from a semiconductor background, if someone said to me before, what is the most, delicate substance on earth? I go, some fine silicon to make a semiconductor, or some fine china, you know what I mean? Like, or a Fabergé egg. No, the most fragile substance on earth is the male ego. Trust me when I tell you. Oh, you have to be so careful. Don't ever, when you're communicating with a guy, make it personal and go, you're deficient, because the guy will immediately shut down.
Yeah.
I always tell women, when you are going to say, I want more of this, you almost have to preface it with, our intimacy is great.
Yeah. You have to have the positive sandwich.
You have to exactly bury it in the middle of that sandwich, but you better have the positive sandwich. You can put a bad meat in there, but you better have a lot of good avocado and cheese and lettuce so they don't focus on the bad thing in the middle. So what you have to do is say, our sex life is great, but I'd love to turbocharge it. You know what I mean? Like, let's have this special thing. Or, hey, this is really interesting. I saw this. It's not like we really need it, but hey, let's just stretch the boundary a bit, that kind of a thing. A lot of times when I do these Sirius XM radio shows or I do podcasts, and they have call in, 50% of the people call in are women. And every single time a woman calls in, it's the same thing. We need this in our relationship. How do I bring it up without freaking out my boyfriend or my husband? And here's what I tell them. Literally say, let's have a 50 Shades of Gray night. Buy a riding crop, buy a blindfold, buy a straight jacket, whatever it is, and then buy some Promescent or something, include it all in there. Because that way you're not saying, use this because you don't last long enough. It's like this whole fantasy thing. So what you're doing is saying, oh, I'm going to whip you with my little riding crop. You know what I mean? And I'm going to put a blindfold on and titillate you. And I want to make sure, you last extra long this time, because we're going to be doing all this great stuff. So a guy's not going to take it personal. And what I tell women is, you get him to use Promescent delay spray one time, you'll never, ever have to tell him to use it again. He will use it every single time for this reason. Guys love control. Control. If you ever sit there with a guy, you're watching TV, you can't get the remote out of his hands unless you chop his arm off, okay? They want the remote. I'm in control here. If you ever see a couple going to dinner, or two couples going to dinner, how many times is one of the women driving? Never. Every time I see that scenario, the woman's driving, I go, that guy has a DUI. He doesn't have a driver's license, okay? Guys love control. Did you ever tell a guy to stop and ask for directions? No, I got it. I know where I'm at. He'll drive around in circles for an hour instead of asking directions. Guys want to feel like I'm in control. So if you give a guy Promescent and all of a sudden, instead of him having anxiety and go, am I lasting long enough? Am I lasting long enough? Is my wound going to climax? All of a sudden it changes to, do I want to give her 2 to 3 orgasms before I'm done? Do you think he's going to go back? Do you think he wants to go back to anxiety, or is he going to go, I like this. I love this feeling. Guys want control. This gives guys control. So I promise you that all you got to do is get him to try it. You'll never have to tell him to use it again.
Ooh, yes. And then you're both happier. Okay. So, what I learned in my past relationship was yes, you have to have the positive sandwich, ladies, and then you can make it fun. So exploring fantasies, exploring desires can be like, ooh, just like what you said. What would you think if we tried 50 Shade stuff or exploring your fantasy and sharing what it is with your partner without expectation? Like, I have this fantasy and then literally describe it. Because then it's like the foreplay, the excitement, and then they understand what you're talking about, and they're not in this like, wait, she wants to whip me. Oh my gosh, what does that look like? What does that mean? Like, you can actually communicate and make it kind of like a game and make it
That's
fun.
almost like foreplay, just describing it. It kind of whets
Yeah,
the appetite. You know what I mean? And I always tell people that sex is 50% mental. It
it
really is.
is.
The anticipation, the arousal, it starts here. It ends
Yeah.
there, but it starts here.
Yeah, so true. And communication can be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that I experience, I don't have a ton of men on my podcast. I'm actually opening up. So you're like the second or third. I think you're the second. So I'm happy to have you. I'm going to have
I'm
more.
happy to be here. I love it.
But I have this question. Okay. And I get this from women. They're like, my man doesn't go down on me enough. How does she communicate in a positive way to get him to go down on her versus nagging or being like, you don't go down on me enough? Can you please
Yeah,
do
that
that?
would tend to that then if you do that, then the guy almost feels like it's obligatory. And you don't
Yeah.
ever want to feel like you're down there because I forced you to. You
Yep.
know, I would say I have always really enjoyed going down on women because to me, it's the ultimate feeling of closeness. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm.
you want to talk about the highest degree of intimacy. To me, it's like a 69 position where,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't get any more personal than that. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
really. And so if you have a guy that doesn't, it's almost something you're going to have to communicate. I mean,
Yes.
unless you were going down on him and you just start spinning around and place yourself right on his face. You know what I mean? I mean,
Try that.
you can try that. That's kind of the direct approach. You know what I mean? And if he starts spinning away the other direction, then you go, okay, there's an issue here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I don't know. Are there really that many guys that don't really want to go down on women?
I've just heard it,
Yeah,
or like maybe the girl gives a lot more and then the guy isn't as much.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So what I found, ladies, is it's good to make it like sexy, like just kind of, I don't want this to come off poorly, but like training your child or training a kid, you have to reward them for good behavior. So you have to be like, ooh, I would love if you did this. I would
oh
love
yeah,
if you tried this. But yeah, if you're nagging to get him, then it will get to
yeah. You
the
can't go
obligation.
down on me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you might want to say, "I love it when you kiss my thighs."
Yeah.
Okay, then he's in the area at least. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And you might, if you say, "I love when you kiss my thighs," he starts kissing your thighs, and you really start becoming turned on. And, hey, as long as I'm down here, you know what I mean? Like, happen to be in the area. It's like sometimes you go, "Well, I wasn't really intending to go into Ace Hardware, but there it is. I might as well go in and get a shovel." You know what I mean? Like,
right?
I'm going to need one. So, yeah, I would suggest something that brings him down in the area. Or I love it when you lick my belly button or something, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
whatever, just get him in
Yeah.
the area, and if you all else fails, I'd say, listen, I love going down on you. You know what I mean? Like, is there a reason why you don't reciprocate? Because
Yeah.
maybe some
That's
guys have a
okay.
hang up, you know what I mean? And,
Hmm.
you know, I've actually had the reverse a couple times, not often, I'd say really, but it has happened a couple times where women are uncomfortable with guys going down on them.
Yes, that's a thing. It is very vulnerable. It's
Yeah.
very vulnerable and there's so many thoughts. We're going back to the anxiety again. Women
Yeah.
are thinking it's taking too long. I don't look good enough. This is a weird angle. Literally, there's so many things going on in our brains.
Yeah.
This is where you get back to like the practice and like enjoying and meditation, like
Yeah.
breathing. Hmm.
Yeah. No, exactly. But I would suggest if you're a woman and your man is not going down on you, try getting him in the area. And if he's in the area and doesn't, then you're going to have to literally say, is there something that is a turnoff? I mean, is it an issue? I mean, some religious thing on your part? Like, what
Yeah.
exactly is going on there?
Yeah, you just have to communicate and maybe you'll find out what it is.
Yeah.
And then the other way is just turning back to like rewarding him. Like, I love when you do this. It gets me so turned on. It makes me want to have sex with you more. I love it. It gets me more pleasure. It gets me closer to orgasm. Like,
Yeah.
if you share why you want it and you share, like, most men, masculine energy, they want to please you, both sides, female and male, they want
Absolutely.
to please you. So if you
Yeah.
can share why you want it, why you like it, then I think that will get them more excited.
You
And
might even
like,
say something along the lines of, hey, I'd like to climax, with you in me, but is this real? Like you said, this really turns me on and gets me so close, almost, like it would be great to be that turned on.
yeah, and a lot of women actually don't climax easily with penetration only. So that's like a
100%.
really big,
Yeah,
that's a
no,
really big thing. Okay, so I hear this all the time. So adding vibrators and adding toys into the bedroom, they're like, well, I don't want my man to think that it's him or that he's not good enough. I'm like, what? Like, it's just adding to the pleasure. Like, why would he not?
that's
What
like
would you say to
saying,
that?
I'm not going to have a dessert because I don't want the main course to feel guilty. You know what I mean? No, it's part of an overall feast. You know what I mean? And if you had something that made the main course taste better, why would you not put it in there? I mean,
Yeah.
we have a line of toys and vibrators, on our site, and they sell remarkably well. And
Ooh.
I'm actually recording a video on Sunday that we're going to put on our site that says, men, don't look at having toys and vibrators, meaning that there's nothing, or something about you that's not satisfactory. Look at it as it just takes it to the next level. It's an addition to what you're bringing.
Yeah.
Because I find that the majority of our vibrators and toys are sold to women, and we have 70% men on our site, and 70% of the toys are bought by women.
Yeah.
Because guys are like, wait, aren't I good enough? No, you're fine, but let's take it to the next level. And I tell
Yeah.
guys specifically that there's not a woman who's sexually active that I know in my entire life that doesn't have a vibrator. Okay. So obviously some of them have quite an extensive, collection. So obviously there is a need for them, and women find them pleasurable. If you're a guy, get your ego out of the way. You want your woman to have as much pleasure as possible.
Yes. And do it with her. Enjoy it. Make it a a partner thing. Like, you can do it together or, add it
Absolutely.
with penetration, add it into the mix. That's where
One
I
of our
think,
biggest selling products is a vibrating cock ring.
oh, okay. So that's your best selling?
That's no, it's in the top 3. We have one of those clit sucking vibrators
Oh, yeah.
that's
Those
a
are the
big one.
best.
Then we have another one that is a couples vibrator, and then the vibrating penis ring. Because the vibrating
Okay.
penis ring gives a guy a much firmer erection, while at the same time it stimulates the woman's clitoris while you're having sex.
Yeah. I used
Yeah,
that
no,
in my like first boyfriend like 10 years ago. I haven't used it since. So you're
yeah.
kind of like, just ding, little idea popped in my head. I'm
I
like,
think
I'm
they've
gonna use that.
advanced. I'll send you a link. You should check it out, because there's been a lot of advancements in Viber. I mean, the quality of now is just spectacular. And
Oh yeah.
what I tell people is I'm very open and I communicate really well. And a lot of times early in a relationship, I'll say to my woman, I want you to masturbate for me. And a lot of times I say, what? I'm like, yeah. So they'll like, under the covers. I go, no, get your ass out from under. I want to, and I go, think about it. Okay. You're new. We've just started dating. It'll take me a month or two to figure out exactly what you like,
Oof.
exactly whatever. I said, for a woman, all the man, his plumbing's all outdoors. It's pretty obvious. Get a hard
Yeah.
on, the guy gets a
1, 2, 3,
blowjob.
bing, bang, boom.
Yeah. I go, for a man, I've dated a woman. This is a true story, to where literally she's like, I have an extremely sensitive clitoris, any pressure directly on it really is a little uncomfortable. So just massage around it like the vulva, maybe
Yeah.
hit it from the side a little bit, but be really careful, okay, great. And you get to learn that. And then I dated a woman literally like 6 months later, and she had partly a hooded clitoris, and it
Mhm.
was, very, very non protrusive. And it
Mhm.
was like, Okay,
Complete
get a
opposite.
jackhammer with some sandpaper, like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for a guy, you literally have to literally go into every sexual relationship with a blank canvas. You
Yeah.
can't go, all women love this, because they all don't love the same thing. There are women that you can do something to that goes, oh my God, I love it. And the next woman's like, I hate that. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of times they're like, oh, that makes sense. You're teaching me how you like to be
Yeah.
touched. You're teaching me exactly this speed, this pressure, this area. You know, nothing teaches you more than to watch a woman masturbate.
Yeah. And you find it hot, right? Okay.
Oh,
So,
I
so
am
many women. Yeah.
through and through. I find it extremely hot.
I have never. Okay. So I learned this probably even before I had sex because I hung out with men. I listened to men. I listened. And I always like guys loved watching a woman masturbate. And so I knew that at a young age. And so I never really thought it was bad because every time I did it, they would just be like in awe, like chin dropped.
If I
And
had a woman
women just
that
don't
did it
do
without
it.
me asking, I'd go, do you want to get married? And I've never been married and I'm 64. I go, you're my kind of woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So women, it's giving your man or partner the key to the mansion.
Absolutely. Why have to go take measurements and figure it and go to the locksmith? You know what I mean? Like, here's the key. Come on.
Yeah. And
You're
it's
doing yourself a service. You're going to be pleasured by someone who knows exactly what you like.
and it's hot. It's hot.
Oh,
I've
it's hot.
never heard it's hot. Okay. A woman masturbating is hot. So give it a try. Try it with your partner. And then you could even like share what you love afterwards. That's
Yeah.
another thing. Okay, while we're on communication, is you can make it really fun to talk about the sex that you just had with your partner afterwards, outside the bedroom, and be like, "Oh, what did you like?
Yeah.
What would you like to try more of? What would you like to bring in?" Like, kind of make it fun and like it brings you back to the experience and talking about it. Like, I used to do that with my last partner, and it was so fun. We would like talk about, oh, I really loved this. I loved when you did that. That was so hot. And then I knew what he liked and he knew what I liked.
There's a certain amount of trust in that. You guys trusted one another and you were comfortable with one another. And that's,
Yeah.
again, communication.
Yes. Communication, everybody. Please just, if you take one thing away, just share something that you enjoy or, that you love about it or that just that's your homework. Please communicate with your partner. Oh, okay. So I have another question. So, what would you tell your younger, less experienced self? I don't know what, oh, and pick an age. Like, what age would that be? And then what would you tell him?
I would tell myself, and when I was 22, 23, right, getting out of college, focus specifically on your partner's pleasure and not your own.
Ah, yes.
If there is one thing that I've learned as a guy, okay, there is no better scenario than to focus on your woman's pleasure, give her an orgasm every single time before you even start intercourse. Just go out of your way because they treat you like, oh, you're so giving. They treat you like you're Gandhi, okay, feeding
Yeah.
the poor, okay? And you get this credit for being the most aware, sensitive, caring guy. But in reality, you do that, they're going to go, I'm making sure that guy's happy, okay?
Yep.
Oh, you're paying it forward, okay? You're making sure you're having the best sex ever because when you do that, they literally go, I'm not letting this dude go, okay? I'm making
Yeah.
sure that he's happy. So that's why I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, is there anything better than getting credit for making sure you get pleasure?
Yeah, and it's so sad, but so many guys don't do this.
I
They
know.
just focus on themselves, bing, bang, boom. And
Yeah.
then like the woman's like sitting here like, well, that was like okay. But then they wonder why they're not really wanting to have more sex. But yeah, if you do the other way, she's gonna be like dripping wet, wanting to fuck you all the time.
No,
So
exactly. And they're like, I can't let this dude go. He's pretty funny, makes a good living, and he gives me good orgasms. Okay. I am going to make sure this guy leaves here like, I mean, really happy.
oh yeah, and I've given guys that maybe I would never date usually that really pleased me be like, okay, maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
this
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I always say this when you see one part of the couple where you go, that guy is really out of his league, or that girl's really out of their league, you go, that person's giving the other person some serious sex. Okay.
Yeah.
Because trust me, what other reason could there possibly be?
Yeah, or intelligence or connection. But yeah.
Well,
Sex is
yeah,
definitely
but
one
let's
of
be
them.
real. You can share intellect, you know what I mean? And maybe if it's intelligence, go have a debate about politics, but I don't know if you're hopping in bed together. I mean,
Oh, I love that. Okay. So the funny thing is that my tip for women is the opposite. So men, really focus on your woman, because the more pleasure she's having, the more open, the more wet, the more frisky, the
absolutely.
more horny, the more she'll open up, the more orgasms. It's kind of like the opposite. So for women, I would say you focus on yourself and your pleasure, because the more you're into it, the more horny you are, the more like your pussy, your vagina is like quaking and shaking and wet. So it's like the opposite a little bit.
And if you're orgasming, every guy wants to feel like William the Conqueror. Every guy
Yeah.
wants to feel like Tarzan. He gets off you and pounds his chest. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like, good job there, my man. Yeah, you were really going to work there. No guy wants to get done, even though they feel, well, it was good for me, and go, I didn't satisfy my woman. You know what I mean? Like, maybe she's not into me. Maybe, as a guy, nothing gives you more pleasure than when you see a woman having a very, intense climax.
Yes. So ladies, it doesn't matter what your face looks like do whatever, shake, moan, make weird sounds, like squint, like whatever you got to do.
Sounds help. Definite sounds. And the quaking, because then you feel like it's a total body orgasm,
Yeah.
If a
Yeah.
person's
So
making sounds or laying there like a dead fish, you're like, hey, wait a second. Okay. There's something
right.
wrong with this picture. How are you making those sounds? And I think you're asleep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. One of the last people I slept with was quiet the whole time. And I was just like,
Are you over there?
are you
Yeah.
there?
Are you there? Say something.
So men and women, please, like, make some sounds. Like, it's okay to let it out, like a grunt, a moan, a squeak, like a squeak.
Next time if you're ever with him again, just bite his ass on his shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, if he's not making a sound, he screams, go, I just want to make sure you're still awake.
Yeah, definitely won't be. But that was weird. I just like felt like it was like off. Like it just made me feel weird. But yeah,
I
guys, you
love,
can make noises.
going, hey, that feels really good. Oh my, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I'm encouraging them, do more of it.
Yeah, and that's okay. And women too. Oh, I love that.
The person's going, evidently they're not enjoying this.
Yeah, especially men and women, like make
Yeah.
more noises
Yeah.
when they're getting closer, even when they're getting building it up, and then they're going to keep going and doing that. Hopefully same thing. Don't mix it up. Keep doing the similar thing. Go better.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I've had so much fun. Is there any questions that I haven't asked that you'd like me to ask? Or something that you'd like to share?
No, the one thing I will close on is, we're in a bunch of different stores now, Target, Walmart, GNC, on Amazon, on eBay, we're everywhere. But I always tell people the most important thing you can do is go to promescent.com. That's promescent.com. For this reason, we have clinical trials. We have educational videos with our doctors that show you how to use our product. We have tutorials that talk about different types of products, even products that aren't ours. Our goal is to educate people. Our goal is to have people understand which products do what, okay? And we want people to be satisfied and happy. You can buy it wherever you want, but if you start at the site, number one, you'll know you're buying the right product for the right reason. Number two, you'll realize once you get it, there's tutorials that you play that show you exactly how to use it and the proper way to use it. And number three, you can go, if I want it today, there's a store finder. You type in your zip code. It shows you which stores have which products close to you. If you go, I want to get it, in 2-3 days. The one nice thing too is we have free shipping. It's
very cool.
You come to our site, we have free shipping. Another thing is we have a 60-day unconditional money back guarantee. So
awesome.
We stand behind our products work. We stand behind them. We want you to try them because history tells if you try them, you're going to use them regularly. So go and try it. You know what I mean? And see what you think. There's no risk. Number one, it's free shipping. Because how many times you see they go, oh, free shipping, or try the product, money back guarantee. You go, wait a second. It costs $9.99 to ship it. It costs $9.99 to return it. And there's like a 10%, 20% restocking fee. You go, I just paid for it.
Yep.
We have an unconditional zero risk. Try our products. We're comfortable that they work. They do work. We're happy. We have a theory that if we get eyes to the site, they buy our products. If they buy them, they come back and become repeat customers.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I appreciate this opportunity to come here and connect with your audience. But we're growing. We used to be a company that only had male products. We had the male delay spray, but we have as many female products as we do male now.
Yeah.
And our female products rock.
Yes, I will say I like the buzzing. Where is it? Okay, so if you're watching the video, the buzzing Promescent gel, I can still feel it. So it's been almost an hour. It's not as intense, but I can still feel it. So that lasted a lot longer than I expected.
Yes.
And I really do like this. So yay.
Oh, I told you that that's a big seller, but the VitaFlux, you're a little young for VitaFlux, but the VitaFlux is really a great product for both men and women. It really is.
Okay, so the VitaFlux is the triple power formula to help natural lubrication, sexual performance, and boost energy and circulation. So you said that helps with like blood flow and libido, right?
It's a nitric oxide supplement. So nitric oxide supplements, and it has zinc and magnesium, which are good for sexual health, infused as well. So a nitric oxide supplements promotes stronger blood flow. The good thing is stronger blood flow gives you lower blood pressure. A lot of people want lower blood pressure, but it also helps in recovery from workout, stress, because the way you recover from any physical or psychological workouts is to get oxygenated rich blood into the area. So it helps with that. Every vein and artery in both men and women is covered by an epithelial layer. Okay. When you're young, it's very supple. It's very soft. What that layer does is it keeps bad things out, bacteria, organisms, and allows hormone absorption and nutrients to go in. When women and men reach their early to mid 30s, it begins to harden a little bit. When you're in your early 40s, it hardens even more. When that epithelial layer hardens, it literally makes it hard for hormones to absorb. When hormones don't absorb, you then, for women, you lose natural lubrication. That's why a lot of women in their 40s have to use tons of outside lubricants, because when their hormone level goes down, they begin to lose the ability to naturally lubricate. Can't tell you how many women we have that go, oh my God, I'm back to when I was 20 again. I don't have to use all these artificial lubes and everything. That's because that epithelial layer softens up. It also allows hormones to absorb, and you need hormones to reduce body fat, to increase lean muscle. And because it has the blood flow, it doesn't just flow blood into your feet and arm, it flows blood everywhere, which include the vulva, the clitoris for women, the penis for men. So men get better erections and higher libido, and women get stronger orgasms and higher libido because of the additional blood flow. So it became our second best product almost immediately. Our delay spray is so universal. There's 2,200 urologists in North America that recommended by name. If people come in and go, I want to last longer, right in the urological checkpoint, it says use Promescent. So that will always be our number one product because we have 11 years with it,
And just to reiterate, it doesn't numb you, right?
No, it's a eutectic formula. If you're looking online, you can see I'm making a little thing. It's the stratum corneum, the outside layer of your skin. Traditional lidocaine sprays, you spray it, just sits on there. It numbs you and it transfers to your partner and numbs them. This crystalline structure formula we have that's eutectic changes it from a solid to an oil aqueous form. So you apply it, you wait 5 to 7 minutes, and then it goes to the fatty tissue underneath. So you maintain a much higher degree of surface sensitivity, and it doesn't transfer to your partner. Because that was always the drawbacks before. It numbs me, numbs my partner. So that's the whole differentiator for us, and it's huge, and it's made us extremely successful.
Awesome. Well, go check it out. The links are in the bio, and I may have a surprise. We'll see. Check it out. And I recommend most men to get this, especially while you're practicing to extend your orgasm, to last longer. Like, please, go please your woman, go please your men. Like, I fully recommend this, and I really liked enjoying the products I've already tried so far, and I have more to try, so I'm excited.
We're going to stay in touch. Any feedback, definitely let me know.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. I can't tell you. You're very wise for a young woman, and you obviously are very good at what you do.
Oh, thank you.